Hello everybody, my name's Nicola and welcome back to my channel. This is the Frugal Cottage, where we talk all things money to help you on your financial journey. This is Vlogmas day 3 and today's video is all about why I think everybody needs to have a budget. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let's get started. So there are kind of a couple of things being kind of posted lately on the social media channels that I have about the fact that budgeting is not particularly necessary, and I disagree with that completely. So this is why I think everybody needs a budget. As you know, if you've followed my channel for a while, I am a massive fan of a budget. I actually have 2 different budgets set up. So I have my wonderful budget planner that I use day in day out, and it makes me stay on track, but also not only stay on track, but it also keeps me in the know of what our finances are. And I'm very much like the pen and paper aspect of that. I'll leave a link below to my budget planner in my Etsy store if you want to have a look at those. I do recommend it, but then of course I would. But it has absolutely transformed our finances. But also, so I have that on pen and paper, but I also have a spreadsheet that I input like the final numbers in. So I use pen and paper to track the daily ones, and then at the end of the month I put into this spreadsheet kind of what we spent on food as a total, what I spent on petrol as a total, and then it kind of keeps that as an electronic version of just the final numbers. So they're the 2 methods I use for our budget, and I do believe that that consistency of writing things down and kind of being knowledgeable about what I'm spending, where I'm spending stuff, what my triggers are, has kind of transformed our finances. I don't know if my husband would agree, but he leaves the finances to me, if that's not a surprise to hear. But I do think that budgeting is such a transformational tool. Now, it doesn't have to be, and I guess this is kind of like a budget myth, I suppose, it doesn't have to be down to the penny. I use the zero-based budget method, and I'll leave a link below to the video I've done about that. But it doesn't need to be that specific if you don't want it to be. You can do a generalisation, so it's probably easier to work out what comes into your house. But maybe you don't want to track what goes out to the penny. But you can do just a generalisation. So say you aim to spend £60 a week on food, then put that as the number you spent down. To me that doesn't make any sense, but some people don't like to budget to the penny and they like to have just kind of rough estimates. The reason why that might work is so long as it balances out, then that's your budget set. But you do need to look out for kind of the balance of income versus outgoings, but also priorities of where your money goes. The reason for having a budget is so you're ensuring that you don't spend more than you earn, and if you are spending more than you earn, you can kind of look at the areas where you are overspending and give yourself a chance of kind of rebalancing that in your own favour. But also you can then start to divert things into long-term goals and short-term goals, but we're talking about long-term in terms of getting in the habit of budgeting that's not restrictive, because then that wouldn't be helpful at all. And then you can think about things like kind of that big family holiday you might go on to, the renovations you might want to do in your home, the new or new to you car that you want to get. And then even longer term, so like thinking about retirement saving, thinking about investments, you know, all those kind of things are much easier to get a hold on if you have some kind of budget in place. It doesn't need to be complicated. A budget is income minus expenses equals leftovers, hopefully. That's it. It doesn't need to be really complicated. You don't need a million different kind of expenses in terms of variable expenses, sinking funds. To begin with, especially if you're new to budgeting, it can be as simple as that. You work out your income, you work out your kind of average roundabout expenses, and you can go into more detail once you've got your head around the idea. And then hopefully that leaves you with something left over. Even if it's just £1, you're balancing it in the right way. If you find that number is negative, then there are things, i.e. you've overspent each month, then there are things you can do to change that, to look at that, to kind of balance it more, whether that's increasing income if you're able to, or cutting back on expenses again if you're able to. There are lots of things there. I'll leave a couple of links down below to videos that might help you with that. And did you know that most millionaires have some kind of budget in place? And if it works for them, it can work for the rest of us. So I genuinely believe everyone should have a budget to make them aware of where their money goes, so you can prioritise what is important to you in your own budget. your priorities in your budget will be very different to what my priorities are for our budget. It's a very personalised thing, hence the personal finance term. It's up to you, but it gives you that knowledge and it gives you the power to be able to change it if you need to. I'm not saying that it's easy, especially in current circumstances it might not be, but it gives you that power because it gives you the knowledge in the first place. It shouldn't be restrictive because then that helps nobody. We all know what it's like when you try and cut out everything in your diet. You then just want to eat everything. Or is that just me? And it doesn't need to be overcomplicated, but that is why everybody needs a budget. Do you agree with me? Do you have a budget? Are you a fan of budgets? Are you somebody who doesn't like them at all? Let me know why. If you are that person who doesn't have a budget and still does okay with their money and doesn't believe in a budget, let me know. I love to talk to people who have different viewpoints to mine. Always opens up that conversation. I personally feel that if I don't understand how you can work without having some kind of budget in place. Like, how do you know where your money is going? How do you know that it's working for you? How do you know that you're not going over budget? As in, you're going over the amount you bring in. All those kind of things. I've worked with a budget for so long that I genuinely don't know how people survive with that one. So let me know if you're one of those people who don't have a budget and still manage to do all these things. Is it because you have a really, really high income and therefore it can kind of go more places? I guess one of the reasons we have a budget as well is that our household budget is fairly low. Therefore, because we've got such big dreams about retiring early and building this dividend income stream, I need to be aware of just where our money goes so that we can do that on our limited income. And I'm working on building our income, but it's slow. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Let me know. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 4.